In dense jungles where light barely reaches the ground and every sound feels like a warning, even the best trained soldiers can vanish without a trace. That fear became real for the patrol led by Sergeant Damon Hale, a soldier known for staying calm, even in the most unpredictable missions. The team entered the jungle just after sunrise. The air was thick, humid, and heavy. Leaves dripped with water from the night's rain. The ground was soft and muddy with every step. Large trees stood like silent guardians, blocking most of the sunlight. Damon checked his compass, wiped sweat from his forehead, and signaled the group to move forward. Their job was simple on paper track, unusual activity deeper inside the forest. But missions rarely went as planned in a place like this. As they walked, the jungle seemed to grow tighter around them. Vines hung low, branches snapped under their boots, and insects buzzed constantly in their ears. The deeper they went, the quieter everything became. Even birds stopped making noise. Damon noticed it immediately. Silence in a jungle was never a good sign. He raised his hand, and the patrol slowed down. They scanned the surroundings, expecting movement, but the forest stayed still. A few minutes later, their radio signal dropped to static. The team checked different frequencies, but nothing worked. Damon's expression changed. They were too deep. Without communication, getting out would be difficult. Still, he kept moving, guiding his men through the thick plants and slippery ground. Suddenly, they found fresh footprints, several pairs, heading in the same direction they were going. Damon knelt down, touched the marks, and realized they were recent. He motioned his team to spread out slightly and follow the trail quietly. Every step felt slower, heavier, and more cautious. Then, without warning, a loud snap echoed in the distance. The sound bounced through the trees. Damon ordered everyone to take cover. They hid behind thick roots and bushes, waiting for movement. Leaves rustled somewhere ahead, but no one appeared. The jungle felt alive in a strange, unsettling way. The patrol continued, but the terrain changed. The ground sloped downward, becoming wetter and more unstable. Their boots sank into mud. At one point, the ground underneath them collapsed slightly, revealing hidden holes and soft pits. One soldier slipped, grabbed a branch, and barely pulled himself out. Damon helped him up, breathing hard. The forest was turning into a maze of hazards. Rain arrived again, heavy, loud, and sudden. It hammered the leaves and turned the path into flowing streams of mud. The team took cover under a fallen tree. Water rushed past them with force. Communication equipment shorted out. Their map became soaked and useless. Damon realized the jungle was cutting them off piece by piece. When the rain stopped, fog rose from the ground. The jungle looked different, darker, thicker, and strange. It was hard to tell which direction they had come from. They moved carefully, but the forest seemed to shift around them. Every sound echoed through the mist. A distant growl, a crack of a branch, a soft splash. It was impossible to tell what was near and what was far. They kept moving until night began to fall. The forest changed again. The temperature dropped and the sounds grew louder. Animals calling, insects buzzing, branches moving. Damon ordered the team to build a low shelter and stay quiet. No fire. No lights. The darkness was complete, and every shadow felt threatening. Late into the night, faint voices drifted through the forest. Not animals. Not the wind. Human voices. Damon held up a fist, signaling everyone to freeze. The voices grew clearer. Foreign soldiers were patrolling nearby. Flashlights passed between the trees. The lost patrol stayed absolutely still, hiding under thick leaves. The enemy was close enough to hear their breathing, but they passed without noticing. When morning arrived, the team pushed forward, tired but determined. Hours later, they reached a rushing river. It was wide, rough, and dangerous, but it was the only landmark that could lead them out. A fallen tree stretched partly across the water. Damon went first, slowly making his way across the slippery trunk. One by one, the others followed. Halfway across, one soldier lost his balance, but Damon grabbed his arm and pulled him back. They made it to the other side, soaked but safe. Fresh boot prints appeared again. Enemy soldiers were nearby. The team hid in thick ferns as footsteps approached. The enemy scanned the area, checking the ground and listening carefully. Damon's heart pounded. If they were spotted, escape would be almost impossible. After a long tense minute, the enemy moved on. As the sun lowered, the jungle began to open slightly. Damon recognized the shape of certain trees and the smell of the wind. They were close to friendly territory. He tried his radio again. Nothing. Then static. Then suddenly, a voice. Faint but clear enough to understand. A rescue helicopter was nearby. The patrol fired a flare through a gap in the trees. Minutes later, the helicopter broke through the clouds, its blades pushing leaves and branches aside. The lost patrol boarded quickly, exhausted but alive. As they lifted off, Damon looked down at the endless jungle that almost trapped them forever. They didn't complete their mission, but they survived something far worse than any enemy. Sometimes the jungle wins, but not that day.